it's like in terms of some of these, Nick in particular, like Nick is a bit of a self-own. Like it's it's not too difficult to go after him. That's why I actually liked a lot of the ways that Megan was going after him. Oh, yeah. I actually liked a lot of the ways that Megan was going after him because she was doing it with a sense of humor. She actually said that no, she gets along with Nick Fuentes just fine and she's actually attending his upcoming birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. So I think going after people with with a kind of twinkle in your eyes is a good way. But yeah, it's like Nick does these insane attacks. And it's a way to shield off like the pretty obvious ones that could be launched at him. I mean, again, the kid has been operating in bad faith, and I keep giving him second chances. Like this whole idea, I'm afraid to debate him or whatever. I have debated him twice, and I know I've debated him twice. I think we might have done a third one, but I'm not positive. And it's like in each time, I remember the first time I debated him, it got a little, heated. There was a tete-a-tete, but it never went off the rails or into, any kind of territory. And then I remember, a few months later, I did a live stream with Greg Conti, and we had a serious discussion of porn and incels and this kind of stuff. And this became this infamous thing where there was this meme that was promoted by the Irony Bros and Nick Fuentes that I support ethical child pornography or something like that. If any serious person looked at that stream, I've never taken the stream down. I've invited people to go look at it. No serious person who has 2 IQ points to rub together and listens to what I'm saying thinks that that's what I'm advocating. But it becomes this, oh, look, he's ruined the movement again. He pulled a Milo. He's destroyed himself, all this time. And it's like, no, you people, you little shits, to be frank, are operating in bad faith. You're picking up on something, taking it out of context and claiming that I'm a lunatic. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and look, if people wanted to take clips and put them out of context, we can talk about how Prince Hubris has a clip. We could play it. I don't think we should because they'll probably try to strike us for it.
Or whatever.
Well, there's that. I was going to say where he's showing off an FBI agent's business card, talking about how much he loves to talk to feds. I'm not going to go out there and say that the Irony Bros are totally federal agents, guys. They totally are. I'm not going to say that, but
we don't have proof. But I think one thing that we were actually talking about, because you called me this morning, we were chatting, and then you said you're doing the stream, and I was like, oh, I really want to jump on it. But yeah, we don't have definitive proof that they're federal agents, and therefore to say that is just, it's unfounded. I mean, you can speculate, but you have to say, I'm speculating right now. But the fact is, they act like people who are attempting to destroy something. And I think this gets at, and I'll pass it on to Ronnie because he's been sitting there patiently. But
yeah, I'm waiting to dive into Nick here.
Yeah, but what I find fascinating about this is, and because I am kind of fascinated by Fuentes and the Irony Bros because they're interesting as psychological types. And so basically, they are young people who have been red-pilled, and they have been influenced by the alt-right writ large, and they might have even gotten into the whole, TRS thing in 2015 and 2016, or joined IE, or met. So, they joined in some shape or form, and they also got burned a little bit, as everyone has gotten burned a little bit. There's been pushback. Maybe someone in their family didn't like it. From what I understand, what's his name? Sean was doxxed, and he blames TRS, although no proof has been given. So therefore, again, if you don't offer, if something is presented without proof, then it can be dismissed without proof. That is that's a logical basically rule of
Well, and
scientific
I think
inquiry.
Nick Fuentes
So like,
also accused TRS of doxing his sister. I mean, look, I'm
right.
not.
Well,
Yeah, it's
again,
just silly.
you can say this, but again, something presented without proof can be dismissed without proof. Like, you've got to prove something like that. You can't just tell us that's what it is. You're not making an argument or a theological claim. You're making a factual claim. And if you don't have facts, then we can dismiss your claim without facts. It just is what it is. But anyway, so they get burned a little bit. I understand that. They feel there's all this heat coming down, and so they start to blame the alt-right, and the alt-right is evil and terrible. It's destroying everyone's lives, and they're the only reasonable ones. And yet they spend all of their time talking to the alt-right. So it's just this endless, and it's endless criticism to the point of it's just demoralizing. All they do is tweet out, oh, the alt-right are losers, the alt-right are gay, the alt-right hate God. They just keep tweeting this out endlessly in a demoralizing fashion. And so my question is, why are you doing this? Like, as I said to Nick at one point, I think when Ronnie was on the stream, it's like, all right, great. We are total losers. We are just the worst. Why are you talking to us? Why would you spend any time talking to us? And the answer to that question is that the entire optics debate was, first off, an attempt to divide the movement. It was to create a shibboleth. It was not legitimate criticism. It was a way to divide people and start denouncing people. But also, the optics people are basically engaging in intramural signaling. And what I mean by intramural signaling, it's not actually about the outside world. People from the outside world aren't paying attention to the optics people, and they're not reaching the outside world. What the optics people are saying is, like, they're talking to the movement. We're saying, oh, don't listen to those other people. Spencer's the worst. He's the biggest LARPer. I don't know how I got lumped in with this crowd, but whatever. And so we can infiltrate the GOP. We can win over mainstream conservatives. There has been no evidence whatsoever that these people have won over mainstream conservatives. They win over young kids with Groyper avatars on Twitter. Like, they're not actually engaging with the world. They're engaging in divisive intramural signaling.
Well, because it's easier
movement.
to hit at a guy like you than it is to hit at the left, right? The left actually hits back, and you are one of the most hated men in America by the mainstream.
So why not jump on? And then you can also pretend that you're winning. Like, this is the other. I've talked about this with which I noticed this throughout 2018 when when we got on this GOP cheerleading bandwagon, and it was this way of pretending that we're winning. Like, oh, those alt-right people who want to be independent, they're a bunch of losers, but actually we're GOP fanboys, and therefore we're winning. No, you're not winning. The GOP is winning. You want to go attack Richard Spencer. Oh, let's just go, shit on him all day long. Oh, we're just like the liberals. We're doing the exact same thing as like the liberals. This is fun. Now they like us. Now we're winning. Now he's going down. It's just it's a false fantasy of winning. And it actually accomplishes absolutely nothing. And the thing is, I know good faith criticism when I hear it. I know when people will come to me and offer advice or critique or whatever. I know it when it's like that famous line from a Supreme Court justice of, what's the difference between erotic art and pornography? And he said, I know pornography when I see it. You know pornography when you see it. You also look at Rubens, and you don't look at a Rubens painting and say, that's a bunch of porn. No, you say that's an amazing piece of erotic art. And there is a difference. In terms of criticism, it's the same way. When someone comes at me in a massively poisonous, divisive, bad faith fashion, I know it almost immediately. And I've given these guys second chances, and at some point, it's just like, this obviously is not going to work out. I don't. It's weird how we're kind of lumped in the same group, because again, you want to divide the alt-right and lead it or something like this, while demeaning it and demoralizing it. And I you know, this is just, I don't have any interest in this.
Well,
I'm done.
The thing with Nick is he is absolute fringe. He's trying to attack both the alt-right, the civic nationalists, your basic conservatives, because he's trying to build up his own movement, right? But the thing is, the alt-right is clearly defined. The mega supporters, right. Trumpism, that's clearly defined. Where Nick is at, that is not clearly defined. And outside of maybe him and Faith Goldie, it's really hard to pinpoint any influencers or anybody who really stands out that I can associate with them. And
well, what are their ideas?
Well, basically, what Nick is trad cath, right? He's all about this tradition. Oh, I'm a reactionary Catholic, and you know, first of all, like, and I don't mean to shit on the faithful here, but I'm going to power through it. If you like substitute a religion for a political ideology, you might be a retard. You might actually be not very smart, because religion is different than politics, and it's no substitute for it. And so this whole, oh, we'll all go join a church that's, you know, literally headed by like an actual communist that's all about the browning of Europe, and to say, oh, you know, that's our solution. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for Dr. E. Michael Jones, and I know that we've probably got to change the name of the gas station, as much as I love him. You know, but when he was on there the other night, and they had Paddock from Goytalk on, who's a very smart guy, it was a very amicable conversation. But frankly, I think that Dr. Jones got absolutely, I don't want to say wrecked, but you know, they exposed kind of the problem with substituting Catholicism for a serious and well-reasoned critique, because at the end of the day, it relies on faith. Nick Fuentes said something, I think, last night that was very illuminating when he said, I don't believe in white identity. I'm more interested in salvation than white identity. And that's a problem right there. That's fine. That, you know, you can do that.
No, what are you doing with this then?
Yeah, go join the church if you want to be a virgin.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I would add to this is that, E. Michael Jones, this is a man who's, disagree with him or agree with him. I have plenty of disagreements with him. This is a man who is a genuine reactionary Catholic, and who has written multiple books on the subject and read, I'm sure, hundreds on the subject. So this is a very serious person. Be a reactionary Catholic or be a magatard, like choose one, because those are quite incompatible. Be a Trump supporter or be a reactionary Catholic, choose one. Like it is amusing how he also, the alt-right is degenerate or something. They betrayed Trump. It's like, what?
Yeah. And within the alt-right, you have Christians, you have atheists, you have deists. It's filled with all sorts of different individuals, right? Like, that's not, to me, in my opinion, it's not what defines a political ideology. I don't understand why, his religion takes precedence over these other issues. To me, it's just two different conversations. But anyways,
and his religion doesn't take precedent because he's actually a Republican. I mean, this is the kind of thing.
That's the thing.
It's all this like presenting. It's like anytime you criticize at one point, he presents some other little angle and he keeps flipping. I've noticed this as well. Whenever like, let's go back to the Kanye West thing. I didn't even talk about this too much, but I basically just said, like, guys, this is just absolutely embarrassing. I mean, first off, I hate this man's music. I've not listened to a lot of it, but I actually did like force myself on YouTube to listen. I hate this music. It is so awful. Like I don't even know what to say. Secondly, this guy goes up and he's just retarded. I mean, I don't know what to say. This is just absolutely ridiculous what he's talking about. And yeah, there's some kind of manliness thrown in there, and you get a lot of that from kind of like based black guys, but it's just retarded. This is not serious. This is demoralizing that we're putting forth this rapper as like a leader or a good thing. And then I was attacked by Nick, and then all these little Nick fanboys who are attacked. Oh, like he's just jealous, or he doesn't understand what's happening. And then there are all these things like someone is tweeting out like Nick was doing these like comparisons, like Taylor Swift, and I like Taylor Swift's music, and I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I like her music infinitely more than I like Kanye West. Just maybe this says something about me, but anyway. so he was putting like Kanye West, not an NPC. He has an internal monologue, like based, red pilled, whatever, like Taylor Swift. And then the whole thing blows up in their face pretty predictably, although it happened even faster than I would have predicted. And Kanye West is like, I feel used by this. I'm not a Republican. I'm whatever. And he denounces it. And then Nick goes, oh, the alt-right must be really disappointed about this. Like, then he starts attacking the alt-right. It's like, everything is just this little, like, it's like a house of mirrors where it's like, oh, that's their problem. Oh, no. See, I'm the real defender of white identity, not the LARPers. Oh, no. Actually, I don't care about white identity. I'm for Trump. Oh, no. It's the alt-right who believed in Trump. It's like this just game of mirrors. It's almost kind of fascinating.
Well, I think part of the issue with Nick is this absolutely pathological dishonesty, right? So I was because I didn't want last night to happen. I think giving the guy any oxygen is a waste, but if it's there, it's there, and I don't want to back down from it. So I was just I was looking at his Wikipedia page. The guy lied about getting into Auburn. I don't know why this hasn't been discussed about more. He went out and he said, "Oh, I'm transferring to Auburn. I applied. I was accepted at Auburn, which is a very nice school, a good football team. It's it's a good school." And
Auburn had Auburn, yeah.
Yeah, it would be a fun school to go to. But, the thing is Auburn had to come out. The admissions office had to come out and say, no, he never applied here and he was never accepted here. And everyone just kind of acted like that didn't happen. And it's like, well, that's kind of bizarre. If I had done something like that, I'm pretty sure I would be raked over the coals for it. He doxed the guy on Nationalist Review that was working with him in Alsip. And I'm not going to say the guy's name out of respect. People who were around remember that, though. He got mad because they changed the title on a stream, and he starts calling the people that he's working with faggots, and somebody's personal information gets put out there. And doxing is whatever. I'm not going to virtue signal against it, but it's like that's not really a professional way to handle a business relationship. If this all goes downhill, I would hope that you would have enough courtesy to not leak my personal information, and I'm pretty confident that wouldn't happen.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama there.
I've already handed it over to the Russians, but in theory, you're correct.
You say that, but you're running for office, and that's going to come back and haunt you because now that right there is going to the NSA to spy on you like crazy. He said he was a Russian agent.
No. You almost have to tell a joke just to kind of no. I mean, look, no, I agree. I mean, look, I'm not going to virtue signal on doxing because it's kind of like, well, it's a weapon. If someone is engaging in absolute, I'm not going to unilaterally disarm, but I've never done it, and I don't you have to really, really go after me. Like I would first off, Nick is doxed. I would not dox Nick, for instance, even though he's royally pissed me off. It's just it's a weapon to be used, but I'm not going to get in this virtue signal of never do it. You can never do, I mean,
look, I think that we should dox the fuck out of CNN and the Antifa. I think that there's, sure. Maybe I don't want to be involved with that because people already have enough misapprehensions about me being involved with that kind of stuff, which whatever. But, these people, the ones that are going after, McNabb, this kind of,
they're totally nasty freaks. They're the enemy. And there's nothing, we're not going to treat them with respect, but we can treat, people on our side, even if you get in some vicious dispute with them, you just kind of sleep on it and you let your sanguine and bile levels, go down a little bit, and then you don't do it. It's just kind of a act of maturity, really. I mean, I don't even think we need to get in on the doxing question.
When I talked to Nick, I wanted to avoid all the drama for the most part, because I really wanted to just go into the meat and potatoes of the issue. Why did you leave the alt-right, Nick? Or why did you choose to disavow, throw us under the bus, whatever you want to call it? Let's look into Trumpism or the Trump cabinet or whatever. Who are his idols? Who are his heroes within that sphere? Who are people that he can look at as role models or individuals that represent him or whatever? Because he's perfectly fine with attacking people's characters within the alt-right. But if I make any arguments about Trump or anybody at that, even close to that level, well, he'll excuse them because they've reached this level of success. They've reached this level of influence.
Right.
So, we can kind of look the other way. But I mean, that's just such a weak argument because he's coming at it from this Catholic perspective. He's anchored his entire political association in Catholicism. So how is he going to waver and cuck on that issue? And then if we want to go further into Trump, well, look at his daughter, right? Obviously with Kushner there, Trump is 100% cozied up to Israel. These are things that go against Nick Fuentes' ideology. Nick knows that Trump has no way of solving the demographic issues in America. If we look at, what's happening in the urban areas, there's no plan there. There's no foreseeable future in which Trumpism is going to solve any of these things. So I really don't understand why Nick is betting on that horse. It really makes no sense. And just to extend that for one more second, Nick has no future within any sort of mainstream political apparatus. He will never be welcomed in. And you said it earlier, to the outside world, there is no difference between Richard Spencer and Nick Fuentes. They don't understand this nuance. To them, it's just, who cares, right? They just see it as this far extreme right. If you, are talking about race realism, demographics, the JQ, any of these things, you're immediately just scolded, shunned, put to the side. So there is no future for Nick. And his argument is that there's no future for the alt-right because of optics. It's delusional. He's just speaking to this very, very fringe community that is aware of what's going on. So he's kind of relevant in some sort of way, but he'll never be able to break through that.
Yeah, Ann Coulter made a very salient point yesterday about the president, where she said nobody voted for Trump because they liked his personal life, right?
Right.
Nobody went out there and supported the president because they were just a big fan of him cheating on his wife with nasty sluts. I mean, he could have done a lot better. Let's be honest here.
Oh,
just like people
star thing. It's just totally embarrassing and shocking.
Absolutely. Well, but as much as I agree that it's bullshit, what BuzzFeed put out about you, I don't think anybody's going to come around to your way of thinking because they're a big fan of your personal life. I've issues, not I've told you directly, right? But that doesn't matter. This is the political. We're talking about that. People want to go out and say that Ronnie's a race mixer because he's dating a girl who's slightly tanner than Brittany Venti, or I guess less tan actually. Because she's like 33% or something, right? And Ronnie, the race, that right there is a sign of not having an actual response to anything that we're saying when they go for the personal attacks. And personal attacks are fine. Vox Day makes a very good point about, dialectic versus rhetoric, and there's a time and a place for both. But when your attacks on people are just, yeah, I don't like you because this and that, but you're a race mixer, but I don't care about white identity. You undercut your own knees with that. And yet we're the bad guys here. I'm targeting Nick right now. I'm hosting a drama stream because we're just like, no, I'd rather not discuss this privately. I'd rather discuss it publicly, and I want it to be on the record. I want people to know where people stand.
I'm also trying to get at something like, I don't know what the future of Nick is, but it's interesting to look at him as a psychological type, because there is a reason why he's kind of weirdly relevant. And it's because he's speaking for a certain crowd that is resonating with that. He clearly his, like, the base of his support, or the most intense people who seem to be influencing him are the irony bros, and they are another, like, again, I think of them as just flies to be swatted, but they're kind of fascinating psychologically, and it's worth talking about, because the fact is, like, the alt-right has been demoralized. And that we just simply need to face that reality and not deny it, or not walk away from it, or not engage in wishful thinking or Trump cheerleading, whatever. Like by the summer of 2017, the alt-right was radically moralized. We were riding high. We were going out in public. People were taking risk. We were, everyone, the media thought we were sexy. They had to talk about us constantly, even while criticizing us. Since Charlottesville did not cause this exactly. It kind of catalyzed it, but it was clearly an inflection point, a turning point. And since then, the movement has been demoralized, and we just need to face that fact and understand it, and also recognize that, like, this is going to be a long battle, and there are going to be times when we're going to lose, and we're going to kind of we're going to feel a little embarrassed. We're going to kind of not know which way forward and things like that. And we can't descend into what we descended into over the course of 2018. I think 2018 was a terrible year for me personally and professionally. I think it was a terrible year for the movement. And what I found kind of fascinating was all of these, the kind of Fuentes or optics crowd, they viewed like the alt-right's demoralization and other things as their winning. You know, it became this like internal power battle where it's like, oh, if you go down, I go up or something. And it just simply does not work that way. I mean, this was my basic relationship interaction with Identity Europa, and I think people kind of have heard a little bit about this, but I don't understand it. I was they were a group I knew Nathan, I guess since the summer of 2015, and Nathan Damago, he founded it. It was founded under some other names and groups like that, and I was actually pretty extremely, in fact, influential and doing the identitarian thing and so on. And so everything's going well. I do stuff with them, and it wasn't even Charlottesville. One of the first things that they ever got a headline was actually an event I did with Nathan at Cal Berkeley, where and we could never do this anymore. We just simply went to the center of Cal Berkeley, the student forum area, and we just said, all right, let's talk, let's have conversations. And there was one kind of Antifa-ish guy there, but we outnumbered him. And the fact is, I talked to tons of students. We did a little interview with the campus paper, and some of those guys are holding up signs. Like it was a fine little event, and that kind of got them started. I did tons of stuff with IE, and then it wasn't even after Charlottesville, because we did another rally with them in September. With IE, but it was like I don't know, it was late October. It was, we don't talk to you. If anyone talks to you, they're going to be expelled from IE. And the alt-right's brand is gone. We're identitarians now. And it's like, you guys do realize that like I've been calling myself an identitarian for 5 years. And I say that this is our philosophy. Alt-right is more of a, it's more of a broad-based kind of marketing term kind of thing. And, but it was like, we don't talk to you. We all hate you. I was just sent all this stuff of this just totally toxic mess going on their board. And then it's like, if you help Richard Spencer, we expel you. I mean, it was cult-like. Actually, it was not movement-like, it was cult-like. And I just, again, it was all like, oh, if Richard gets attacked, if Richard, he faces all these problems with Michigan and so on. Oh, this is good because, he's going down and therefore we go up. No, it just simply does not work that way. You do not go up if I go down. And also just the fact that anyone even thinks that expresses just a malign mind that, and I so I don't know what to say. I just think there was some bad people in the movement. I'm willing to give people second chances, but at some point, I just these types of people who direct all their energy towards division within the movement just need to be called out. And when you call them out, what is their first response? What is their first response whenever you criticize them? Stop the infighting.
Oh God! I mean, I've been gassing people in the chat for this kind of stuff.
I'm tired of it.
Don't like that. The drama is so. These people need to be gone after. I mean, Identity Europa. There's fair criticisms of them. I won't make them, but I think that the New York Times article was a pretty bad look. But I mean, beyond all of that, there's people that need to be called out. And even if you take some damage for it, even if you're already a damaged brand, a guy like Weave is a great example of spreading really bad divisive stuff behind the scenes, causing problems for people, doing dumb stuff, and then complaining about optics, or oh God, Hilton had Cantwell on, they're evil. And it's like, I disagree with Chris on some things. I think the crying Nazi thing was a bad look, but you know what? I don't think Chris is at the end of the day a bad guy. And I don't get this whole like, let's deplatform these people. It's so stupid. This stream is called "Nail the Colors to the Mast," and that's an old nautical phrase, because back in the day, if you were in a naval battle and you were to surrender, right, you'd lower your flag, you'd lower your colors. And there was, I don't remember what specific battle, but there was a British captain whose main mast was just blown away. It was just splinters in a stump. And so they're like, are we surrendering? What's going on here? It looks like we're pretty well fucked. And this ensign just grabs the colors and he goes up there and he nails them to what was left of the mast. And I think as a movement, we kind of need to do that. Yes, there's been a lot of damage since Charlottesville. Yes, there's been, a lot of really bad stuff going on. But at the same time, the core message is right and it's righteous. And you can't just give up on that because you'll get, mainstream criticism, or because somebody like Nick Fuentes might go after you, or JF says it's bad optics. You need to go up there to whatever is left of it and say, fuck you. If I'm going to die, this is the hill I'm going to die on. Because when you start running away from that kind of stuff, you've sold out at that point. And I don't know. I'd rather be wrong, or I'd rather be hated and intellectually honest than otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think, sorry to go into yet more drama. One thing I'm trying to do is, I respect people who speak truth to power, mainly. That is, you punch up. And this is why it's like, we punch up, we criticize Trump, and that means when you criticize people who are clearly more powerful than you are, they have more money, they have more influence, they have political power, etc. You are doing something brave, and punching down it can be necessary at times, but it's generally not a good idea. And so it's something that I think should be done sparingly when you can make a point about it. But just like endlessly shitting on people who are below you is generally not a good look. But I think there's maybe a time to simply do it and get it out of your system. What is one of the attacks of Nick Fuentes and Ricky Vaughn? You're disloyal to Donald Trump and the GOP. Well, hell yes, we're disloyal to Donald Trump and the GOP. What matters is that we criticize people in power. So they're attacking for punching. They're attacking us for punching up. We should always be about punching up, and we should avoid punching down. Do it when you need to make a point, but that should be 5% of what you do, and 95% of what we do should be talking about what's going on in power. We should be talking about how we can be an independent force to what's happening. This is the direction of the movement. This is how I've always viewed things. This is how I've always done things.